Greetings, boys and ghouls. I hope you enjoyed our spooky new intro music here to Popcorn for Dinner. This is Jeff.
And Kelly.
I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Just October and spooky movie season and all that.
It's the best season.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can watch horror movies whenever, but it just feels better.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels better.
Yeah.
When it's not 90 degrees outside. It's ridiculous. So for this week's show, we kind of specifically watched a movie in anticipation for it. And it's something that we had seen before, but not seen for a long, long time.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but at least for myself, I know when I first saw it. I guess, when did you first see it? How old were you when you first saw it?
I would say probably, honestly, I was probably around like 16.
Okay, so you saw it a few years after it had come out. Because I definitely saw it. I think I saw it in theaters right when it came out. So 2003, I was like 14.
Yeah, because I first saw it on TV.
Okay. When I first saw it, it worked on me. It's like scariness felt scary.
Yeah.
And it definitely
the spook stays with you.
Yeah, it left an impact on me.
Mm-hmm.
So when we came back to it now, I was sitting down to watch it and just hoping against hope that something held up. You know what I mean? Like some part of it that it wasn't just complete unscary garbage. And so I was wrong. None of it held up. It was terrible. It was fucking abysmal. We may as well just say what it is, because I don't have a good way to like segue into it. The movie is Darkness Falls from 2003. Right in the midst of that like PG-13 horror movie phenomenon where it was like, oh man, we can spook kids and get their money without going super hard R for the people who actually like horror. So it was one of those movies that I'm certain at that point I just like went and saw by myself. It wasn't like I went with guardians or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that may have, helped it be scary, being like alone in a dark theater.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure I was like home alone when I watched it. So it definitely, stuck with me a bit too when I first saw it.
I couldn't place it though. Like before we sat and watched it, I was like, I don't really remember it all that well. Like I remembered like sort of the beats and how it went a little bit, but I didn't really remember any of the specifics about it or how any of the characters acted or their like relationships with each other or anything like that. I could have sworn that the monster, the Tooth Fairy monster, was just done better. I could have sworn like for anybody who hasn't seen the movie or doesn't know anything about the movie, that essentially it's like the evil Tooth Fairy. There's a woman who lived in this town called Darkness Falls. I Googled it. There's no town called Darkness Falls anywhere.
Of course not.
I was like, that's a fucking ridiculous name, but I bet you there's somewhere called that. Not that I found. So there's this woman, she's really good with kids, but then there's a fire, and this is like hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
There's a fire, it burns her skin, she can only come out at night, and she wears this like creepy porcelain mask. And okay, so we sat down to watch it and we took some notes.
Yeah.
And basically what I'm explaining right now is like the very opening to the movie, but I wrote something down for it. So while I'm explaining it, I just real quick, something that I happened to write down. Townspeople crazy overreact.
Yeah, they do.
Like, holy shit. The way the story goes is that, like, in the town, one night, 2 children go missing, and the townspeople literally, they just, like, immediately burn her house to the ground and kill her.
No. They blamed her and then hanged her and took her mask off. So she burned in the sun, and that's with her dying breath. Oh, right. She cursed the town.
Yeah, she curses them.
Yeah.
Which, in retrospect, completely understandable. I would curse them too. Like, seriously.
Yeah, because they say, and then like
the next morning,
the kids
show up
were found
safe and sound.
Yeah.
The next morning.
Yep.
So less than 24 hours have passed, and the town is just like, it was clearly her. Murder her.
Yeah.
She was good with kids. Like, if the story was that she was horrible with children and she like hated them, then maybe it'd make sense to be like, hey, it was that bitch. She totally did it.
But no, like she was, and she earned the nickname Tooth Fairy because kids would bring her the teeth that they lose.
Yeah.
And she would pay them with a gold coin. She should not have been a suspect, let alone like the one and only.
And prosecuted immediately.
Yeah. Like I know hundreds of years ago, you know, justice system worked a little bit.
A little more frontier justice.
Yeah.
But still, man, that was a crazy overreaction.
Yeah.
And what really bummed me out is that, like, you hear that story, and then the movie starts, and, you know, it shows a kid, and he's losing his tooth. For one, was he way old to be losing his last tooth?
That was my first note. Actually, no, that was my second note. But yeah.
That kid was like 15.
Yeah.
And I can't understand how it took that long for his last tooth to come out.
And then they said they said an age that they were back then.
Yeah, well, the ages are all over the place.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you wrote anything down. I absolutely did. It was obviously it's a little bit later, but like, so the kid, his last tooth comes out. There's blood everywhere. I don't remember my teeth bleeding that much when they came out as a kid.
It looked like he was forcing it out.
Yeah, which seems weird if there's like a horror story about losing your last tooth.
Right, which
I mean,
my first
do it under your own.
Yeah, I mean,
on your terms,
so that way you know when it is.
Yeah. Here's the thing, real quick. So she wants the tooth, right? And you're not supposed to see her. Mm-hmm. Why not just put the tooth in like another room?
Yeah.
Like if she wants the tooth and she clearly just is supernatural and can find the tooth, just put it like on the fucking front stoop and be like, take it, you're good.
Yeah.
Everything's cool. You don't even have to leave shit. Just don't come inside and murder me and my mother.
Yeah. My first note: does this kid not know the story?
Oh, like, yeah, exactly.
Why would he go look? Because his friend shows up, like he puts the tooth on the dresser.
Yeah, and that made it seem like he knew.
Yeah.
Like you put it over there, she'll take it secretly and hopefully
and
you
leave
won't
you
see
alone
it. Yeah.
and it's fine.
And it's not under your pillow.
Yeah.
But then doesn't she put it under his pillow?
Yeah.
Yeah. What a bitch. God
and
damn it.
He must have moved it though, because he looked over at the dresser later. So either major continuity error.
Oh, couldn't be.
I know. Or he like off screen, or you assume off screen he moved it back to the dresser.
Yeah. So real quick, another one that came in right after I just wrote, did he rip his tooth out? So much blood. Like there was so much blood coming out of his mouth. But the next one, so the girl shows up to his room. You get the jump scare right off the bat where, you know, he goes to the window because there was a shadow moving and it's blood. It's teenage girl, whatever.
Which tooth fairy, lost tooth, not supposed to look at her. So you go looking.
Yeah, right. If he knows the rules, then he's begging for death.
Yeah.
So she comes in and they're talking to each other and he says, there's this school dance as if they don't go to the same school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't he be like, so the dance that everyone knows about, but it's like, there's this school dance. Like, oh, at the school we both go to, you weirdo?
Yeah.
Why are you talking like this? On here, okay. And here's the first thing towards like remembering it from way back when. Porcelain mask scare. Like that first big one where he's under the blankets and he gets the flashlight and then he pulls him down and she's right there. I always thought that was a really good moment of like the fact that it's right fucking in your face. It's not like he pulls it down and like, oh, off in the corner.
Or
she's
like
just
up on the ceiling.
Yeah, she's just like blam right in his face. But man, that porcelain mask is just not scary.
It's
not. Really dumb. It's so non-threatening, and even with the like spooky eye in the eye hole, it's like it doesn't work at all. I used to like, it definitely spooked me as a kid. That was definitely one of the big parts of like, oh, I don't like seeing that.
Yeah.
It's spooking me. Definitely does not spook me at all anymore. Like not even in the tiniest bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so he sees her. She like freaks out because he flashes her with the flashlight and she burns her and whatever. Next time we see him, he comes out of the bathroom and like spooks his mom because she's coming down the hall from the commotion and everything.
Yeah. Which, really quick, that hallway,
the longest hallway ever,
right?
That house is just like one long hall.
House. Yeah. Like it's just one long rectangle house.
Yeah, it's just one long hall, rooms off either side of it, and at the end.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. I was like, who designed this set?
Where the fuck are they living?
Yeah,
that
like,
their house looks like that.
And you never really see it from the outside.
Yeah.
So you can't tell like exactly how it's designed, but it's like, is this like a dog bone shape house? But yeah, so he tells her that he saw someone else in the house and she's like, there's nobody else in this house. And he's like, you're wrong. So it really brings to mind, like, I'm really confused at this point already as to what anybody knows about this story.
Yeah.
Because the story gets told to you, the viewer, and then you jump in there and it seems like nobody knows. But then the girl says like, that was just a story to spook us.
Yeah.
And then his mom doesn't believe it. But it's like, how are there not thousands of missing kids in this town?
Yeah.
And I thought that was something they were going to touch on later. And then they do for like a half a second.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, how many missing kid cases do you have in this town?
How many unsolved murder cases? How many of them are kids? Yeah.
Yeah, and the cop's just like, duh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then they kind of leave it alone and whatever. And it's like, it seemed like it was going to be like a Nightmare on Elm Street type thing, where it's like the whole town kind of knows, but they turn a blind eye. Yeah. But in this case, it really just seems like everyone's an idiot and nobody can piece it together except Kyle.
Yeah.
So all that crap happens, and then the Tooth Fairy kills his mom, which I guess she just like scratches them to death. I don't understand it. All the bodies show up and they just have like scratch marks on them. It's like she like break their neck and claw up their face or something like that. I don't even understand how people die. The PG-13 deaths really let this movie down.
Yeah.
It's like if you could have made it a little more gruesome, maybe it would have helped the like, oh fuck, she's nothing to fuck with kind of thing.
She
but
she rips your head off. Or...
Yeah, but in this case, it just seems like she just like scratches you and then you fall over and you're dead. Like, oh, well, that sucks.
It looked like his mom had like scratches or bite marks like across her neck. But
I mean, she's wearing a mask. She can't bite anybody.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess it would have to be scratches.
Yeah. That I remember being like the scariest bit of the movie back when I was a kid, especially that last shot where he's in the like fully lit bathroom and it pulls back into the dark hallway and she's like above the door, like screaming, like, and being all creepy and everything. And I remember that being a moment of like, oh, fuck, as a kid. And then I was like, God, it's just so dumb looking. I just can't get over how stupid the Tooth Fairy looks and that fucking mask, that it just like, it just kills it. And also, she's so fucking loud.
Yeah.
She is always like raspily groaning and like, and it's like, how do people not believe in her?
Yeah.
It's like, all night.
From house to house.
Yeah. The movie is a prime example of when like supernatural horror goes horribly wrong. When you just do everything wrong. Because with like a physical, like a slasher or something like that, it's pretty standard and simple. You got a person, they're hunting people down, they're killing them. Yeah. It's pretty simple. Once you start throwing supernatural shit in there, now you got to make rules for it. Now you got to understand how it works. You know what I mean? Like a ghost, can it do this? Can it do that? Can it, what are the rules? Yeah. And this movie like sets up rules. Well, it sets up the one rule. The like, she can't go in the light. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. That's the best they do. Yeah. It's like, she can't come in the light. I mean, she casts shadows in certain scenes. So it's like, she must be in the light.
Yeah, she has to be passing some sort of light.
Yeah, so it's like they don't really specify how
much
intense. Yeah, exactly. Could you sit in a room with a candle and be okay? Yeah. Because it seems like it's like if a piece of you is in darkness, she could like grab you. Yeah. Which makes no sense when they're putting that kid in the sensory deprivation tank that's clearly just an MRI machine.
Yeah, with all the lights turned off.
Yeah, and they're like dumping him in there, like, oh, it's conversion therapy or whatever. Not conversion therapy. What the fuck's it called?
I don't know. Just making him face his fear.
But yeah, you face your fear and you go in the dark because the kid doesn't want to go in the dark. And they're like slowly sliding him into it, and the shadow is covering up his body, and you hear the fucking. So she's there.
Yeah. Why did she not just grab his feet?
Exactly. It gets all the way up to his fucking eyeballs, and they're like, and then Kyle busts in, who's been like freaking out the whole movie about darkness. Yeah. Okay, we're getting ahead of it. Because now there is tiny bits of explanation that need to come from this movie, as stupid as it is. So after the Tooth Fairy kills Kyle's mom, he goes to a fucking mental institution for like 9 years, and then
he's a ward of the state.
Yeah, and then he's moved to Las Vegas or some shit. He's got lights everywhere, which is like, is it still hunting him? If he left town, is she still going after him outside town?
You know what I mean? They never mention anything about that.
Like he's got all the drawings of her like porcelain face and shit, but they never specify if she's like actually been there. Like that. Yeah. There you go, movie. There's a scene you need. Have a scene of him like in his apartment at night, and then one of the lights go out, and you hear the like,
yeah,
since that's the only thing you got, movie. And you hear her like raspily whatever, and then he gets his emergency light on, and everything's cool.
Yeah,
to show that it's like, oh, he's still under attack. But in the movie, it just seems like he's still scared of the dark, so he carries flashlights everywhere.
Yeah,
and that's it. So then, fucking the girl, was her name Kat? Caitlin?
Yes.
Catlin? Something like that?
It was Caitlin, Kat, or Katie, depending on who was talking to or about her.
Okay. So it's 12 years after his mom died, right? Okay. And now her little brother, her inexplicably young little brother.
Yeah.
Because she's, for one, again, the way the ages work out, it's like they were supposed to be like, what, 13, 14 in those opening scenes?
I think so.
12 years go by, and they're all 35.
Yeah.
The one dude is like he's like a defense attorney who looks like a middle-aged man. And it's like, you were a classmate of these people 12 years ago? What the fuck? What are you talking about?
Even if you were a grade or two above.
Yeah, none of the ages made sense.
You did not age well.
No, yeah. It was really, really bad. But so he comes back to the town because her inexplicably young little brother is now also scared of the dark. And he tells him that, he saw the Tooth Fairy and she's after him now, and he refuses to go in the dark, and blah, 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 blah. For one, I wrote down new metal, because when they were introducing Kyle again as an adult, it was just some like generic ass new metal song, and I was like, oh yeah, 2003, there it is.
It placed it so well.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, mwah, chef's kiss right there. That's perfect. And then the very next thing, because she calls him, and she's like, hey, my little brother's kind of going through the same thing that you were going through. Could you come and help?
Yeah.
And for one, it just doesn't make any sense why she would call him. Because it's like, him being scared of the dark must have come after the Tooth Fairy attack.
Yeah.
She hasn't seen him since then. How does she know?
I mean, she made reference to like things that she had heard.
Okay.
I feel like. So obviously there were like some sort of like rumors or whatever.
Because clearly, I mean, they show that guy later thinks that like the town thinks that he killed his mom.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty certain of that.
Right.
So for one, that's fucking weird. It's like, does she not believe that?
Yeah.
So does she believe in this ghost? Because through the rest of the movie, she clearly doesn't until it shows up.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that's silly. That's ridiculous. There's no way there's this horrible ghost. And it's like, okay, so if you don't think there's a ghost, then you think I killed my mom. Why do you want my help?
Yeah.
Why should he even go? It doesn't even make sense. She says something so shitty to him. I don't know if you wrote it down or not when they first sort of get together.
No.
Okay. It is so fucked up. As soon as it happened, I was just like, I would leave again. I would immediately leave. I'd be like, even if you're joking, you're the worst. Because they meet up again, and she says, you asked me to the dance, but never took me.
Yeah.
And it's like, his mother was murdered.
Yeah.
And then he went to a fucking mental institution for 9 years. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
That's how you introduce yourself again? Like, remember me? You said you were going to go to the dance, but then you flaked by having your mom get killed. Like, holy shit, you suck.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. That's ridiculous. So I immediately hated her. He comes back to help this young brother of a girl who didn't reach out to him in 12 years. Like, she could have reached out earlier.
Yeah.
But clearly didn't. And then just, why did he come back if he doesn't want to help? He sits down with the kid for like a minute, and he's like, doesn't he like try to convince him that there's nothing wrong?
Yeah.
It's like, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And he tries to convince this kid that it's like, no, nothing's wrong. And then he's like, I'm just going to leave again. It's like, why the fuck did you come all the way back here to talk to this kid for like 2 minutes? And then
not
be like,
even really listen to him
or
like hear him, and then just completely disregard what he says.
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense why he hangs around this town at all. Because he immediately wants to leave then. And then his other buddy, was it
Larry?
Yeah, Larry, the defense attorney. He's just like, hey, yeah, man, let's go out to the bar. I think he says the inn. He makes a specific mention to the bar they want to go to. Larry acts like Kyle would know the drinking spots in a town he hasn't been to since he was 12.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, let's go down to the inn. You want to go to the inn? It's like, what the fuck is the inn?
Yeah.
Even if he knew
I've been living in Vegas.
Yeah, even if he knew what the bar was called back then, it'd be like, I don't know if I want to go there. Is it good? You tell me.
Yeah.
I was 12 when I was taken away by the police. Like, why are you acting like he's just like been out of town?
Yeah.
He's just acting like he moved away after graduation. It's like he didn't even get to graduation. I don't even know if he finished his education.
Yeah.
Being in a mental institution all these years. And you're just acting like everything's hunky-dory. Like, oh, how you been, buddy? And then when they get to the bar, more new metal.
Yes.
There's more new metal, which is pretty good. There's one other little Easter egg of new metal later in the movie that I loved. It was so funny. And then in one of my favorite games when it comes to watching an old movie that I haven't seen in a long time is playing the game. Holy shit, he's in this? For Angus Sampson, who plays Ray, the guy who fucking starts the fight with Kyle at the bar. He plays one half of the ghost hunter guys in the Insidious movies. You know, there's Specs with the glasses and then the bearded guy. That's him.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Other folks might know he was in season 2 of Fargo. He had a big, huge part in that, and he was great. He was really good, but it was just so much fun. I was like, holy shit, it's Angus Sampson. Like, nobody else in this movie went on to do anything. I looked into it.
Yeah.
There's like nothing. I mean, unfortunately, one of them passed away. The guy who played Kyle, he died like in like 2008 or 2007 or something like that. So it's like, yeah, he didn't do anything, but nobody else did either. Yeah. But Angus Sampson out of nowhere. I was really happy to see that. And then he gets murdered by the Tooth Fairy because he sees her. Which, okay, was there? I don't know.
His fault for being a dick, though.
I was gonna say I don't understand because he literally walks up to Kyle, drinks from the beer that Larry got for him that he's already said he can't drink.
Yeah.
He like holds up his medication like, I can't drink. And then Larry comes back with a beer like, oh,
it's light.
Yeah, get it? And it's like, okay, for one, fuck you. For two, you just wasted money. I'm not drinking that.
Yeah.
So fucking Angus Sampson walks up, dumps the beer all over Kyle because he's all pissed that killed
Kyle's
his mom.
There and
yeah, I don't know. Was there something that I was missing as to why that dude gave so much of a shit?
He
was just like,
I'm assuming he was drunk and he was just pissed that guy would ever show his face around these parts again.
It's just, it makes it seem like his mom was someone important to everybody.
Yeah.
And not to say that like it would be cool if someone killed their mom if nobody liked her.
Yeah.
But like it just seems so odd that this dude was so fixated on like, you killed your mom.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sorry. I don't know. I went to a mental institution. They clearly let me out. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm on medication. What more do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And he just starts punching him, and he tackles him, right? He goes outside, and then he tackles him into the woods.
Kyle walks outside, and he gets tackled from behind, and they roll out into the dark woods, and the flashlight rolls away from him, and then
he has a panic attack and
shows up.
Yeah. And then he sees her up in the trees. I remember that being spooky to me too. You see that real quick shot of her like up in the trees, which is a little odd, or it's like, okay, does she have like a physical body in this ghost form, or is she completely like ethereal, or can she just manifest anywhere? Because it seems like she has like a physical body that needs to go from one place to another, but then she also just randomly shows up anywhere where there's darkness, like in the MRI machine.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how would she get there? It's like, well, she travels in darkness. And it's like, well, then why does she need to chase anybody anywhere? How is it possible to be somewhere like to get away from her if she can just appear where there's darkness? It doesn't make any sense. Again, that whole thing with the rules, the movie sets up one rule and never elaborates on it so they can do whatever they want. And it's like, no, none of it makes sense.
That's not how this works.
Yeah, that fucking terrible Lights Out movie did better with the whole darkness light thing than this movie did.
Yeah, it did.
And I hated that movie.
Yeah.
But it still, it at least sort of understood its own rules and knew what it was doing. Yeah. This one seemed like they were just like, fuck it. They didn't care. It was dumb. So she kills Ray.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Kyle gets blamed for it because it's a horrible horror movie.
Right.
And the cops are...
So they put him in jail.
Yeah, they're completely incompetent.
Right.
Oh, right. Sorry, real quick. So they fall out into the woods. Tooth Fairy kills Ray. Kyle like escapes and runs away and gets to light wherever the fuck it is. I think he goes back to the hospital or something.
Yeah.
And then the very next scene is like the entire police force doing a scan of the woods with flashlights.
Looking for this guy. Yeah.
And it's like, it's been like 3 minutes and a drunk guy wandered off, and that's enough to get your whole force looking for him. Because it's, again,
how big is this town?
It must be just literally the people that we see on screen is the population of the movie of that town. So he goes to the hospital, but then the cops show up and they're like, you're coming with us because Ray is dead. And we have these immediately developed pictures to show you of his corpse.
Yeah.
To show you that he's totally dead.
Yeah.
Think for 1 second and try to imagine how he got Ray's body up into the trees to fall on Larry.
Yeah.
Like, just that alone is like, oh my God, he killed Ray. And then he climbed a tree with his corpse. And then he perched it up there precariously so that it would tumble down and land on somebody.
Yeah.
Again, just the stupidest of cops. It's a horror movie staple, so it's not like I can really blame the movie for it. Or it's like, the cops are dumb? You're kidding. They're always dumb. These ones were extra dumb.
Yeah.
Like, the movie didn't give enough of a benefit of the doubt. Where it's like, at least with most of the movies where it's like, you know, they take in the wrong person or, you know, it's not me, it's the ghost or whatever the fuck it is. There's normally a good amount of like reasonable doubt there where they could be like, but this and this and this, circumstantial as it may be, points us to you. But in this case, it's literally like, you left a bar, then the drunk guy left the bar. Now that drunk guy's missing.
It's your fault.
Exactly.
Clearly, this town has a reputation of jumping to conclusions.
That is the true curse of Darkness Falls, is that nobody wants to put any effort into finding who did something.
Yeah.
And they're just like, were you nearby? Hang him. Just immediately. You're the one who fucking did it.
Yep.
And then around here, they have, you know, there's more moments because when they're looking out in the woods, everyone is looking around with their flashlights because they keep hearing like, and like, and stuff crackling and everything. And I wrote down at this point, I'm like, the Tooth Fairy is loud and easily seen. How is she not a bigger deal in this town? Like, it's not a thing where like, it's like the Jersey Devil, where it's like there's been 1 or 2 sightings, but nobody's sure. This would be more like there's a family of raccoons in the alley that's going to get you. It's that kind of thing where it's like, everyone can hear them. Everyone can see them. Just tell them to stay away.
Yeah.
Like, it should be something that everybody knows and believes, but nobody believes.
Real quick, I want to circle back just the tiniest bit. So after Kyle's arrested the first time and Larry gets him out, the cops give him his duffel bag back, but there's no flashlights in it. They're still being processed.
Yeah.
And so he goes to the whatever store.
Yeah, the like hunting store.
Yeah. Hunting, camping, fishing, whatever store. And is buying a bunch of flashlights and batteries and all that nonsense. The store clerk, like, walks away with the keys in the lock.
That's my favorite part, is that there isn't even like an excuse. He just literally goes like, I'm gonna go back here for a second. And he just walks away. It's
like there was like maybe a faint like phone ringing or something.
I don't even know.
I don't want to give the movie that much credit.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm gonna step out of the room for a second.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Like, hang on a sec.
And then immediately, or actually it's immediately before that I wrote it down, but I wrote cat scare, fuck you movie. That moment where she's in the car and then the cat just like jumps on the hood of her car and spooks her.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's the one that everyone uses when they talk about shitty jump scares in movies. They're always like, and then it's a cat.
Yeah.
But in this case, it is a cat.
It's a black cat.
Yeah, it's literally the cat scare.
Yeah.
And it's just like, movie, you have to try harder than this. This is basic.
Give us a little more effort, please.
Seriously, like, I understand it's PG-13.
At least make it a dog.
Something else. A peacock. Do something
That'd be
different.
Hilarious. A goose just lands on the hood of the car.
Just whacks right into the hood.
I mean, that would spook me.
Yeah. And then I wrote down another note in there. I wrote, is this kid in The Ring too? A kid who played Michael. I thought he was the same kid who played Naomi Watts' kid, but I looked it up. It's not.
Okay.
I was pretty sure though. They were very similar.
Did he sound British at certain points?
He just sounded like kid.
Okay.
You know what I mean? With like
Kyle.
with O's, his R's as W's and shit like that. No, yeah, he just. I read a review. I read a review from the AV Club for the movie, like back when it came out.
Yeah.
And they called him a mush-mouthed Moppet. And I was like, that's the greatest thing I ever heard in my life.
That's fantastic.
Because it's very, very true. You can barely understand what that kid says. But yeah, scene after that is when the lawyer dies.
Yeah.
When they're driving in the car and he's taking him away instead of back to the hospital where the kid's getting put in that machine.
Right.
And then he turns the gun on him that he stole from the idiot. And he's just like, you have to take me to that hospital. And then the fucking tooth fairy drops her, whatever the fuck, her robe in front of their windshield for a second and like blocks where they're driving, which is like later in the movie, you just smash through a car and like take people.
Yeah.
So in this case, it's like, why the ruse of like, oh, I'll put my cape over the front of your car and then you'll crash into a tree, at which Kyle flies out of.
Yeah.
He's ejected from the car and he's fine.
Yeah.
And then the lawyer looks up and sees her and she comes down and takes him. And then it's just like this 15 to 20 seconds straight of just like noises of like him getting dragged through the trees and him just going like, oh God, no.
Help.
Yeah. And it's just like, what is she even doing to him? It's not even like she's tearing him to pieces. He doesn't sound like he's in like horrible agony.
Yeah.
He just seems like he's spooked that he's that high up in the air. It's like someone hanging from a crane or something like, oh no. And then she like drops him on the ground and drags him away. And
is she like taunting Kyle?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
I got your friend.
Yeah, I wrote later too. But it's really ridiculous. The fact that she clearly wants Kyle. She is like dead set on this kid. He must be like the one who lasted the longest after seeing her or something. Because she is pissed at him.
Yeah.
And yet she goes after all the unimportant people, especially in cases where she could just get him.
Yep.
And she goes for the
jumping
other person
on the staircases.
in the scene. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And it's like, what? It's like you just want to pick everyone off, so it's just you and him alone. You got a real vendetta against him that you want to make it personal. But yeah, she's ridiculous. And sorry, just the fact that I've written it before in my notes, but then again I wrote, "Can no one hear all her raspy growling?" It's baffling that nobody hears all this shit. It's such commotion. And then he shows up at the hospital to keep the kid from going in the darkness. And I just wrote, Kyle is not concerned enough that Michael is being put in the dark. Because he comes in the room and he's like, don't put him in there. And the kid's already like 75% into the machine. Yeah. He knows that she's going to get, it's like, you need to be a little more, like this whole movie needs to up a little bit. Everyone needs to feel a little bit more pep in their step in this fucking movie. It's like everyone is on Xanax or something. They're just like, hey, whoa, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's like there's a murder ghost coming for this kid. Like, have
some urgency to your voice.
Nobody has urgency in this movie. So then they take him again, right? They arrest him again.
Yeah.
When he's there in the hospital because the lawyer's dead or something like that.
No.
They just do it for fun. Oh no, yeah, the guard calls.
Yeah.
Because he calls in still with no urgency while he's driving there. He's like, I need to talk to Caitlin right now. And the nurse is just like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like,
she's not available.
Tell her not to put him in the dark. I'll be there soon.
Yeah.
And that's it. Not like screaming like, you have to do it, which really doesn't make sense because he's so level-headed about it.
Yeah.
He's just like, you need to tell her not to put him in the dark. And he's like, she's just like, okay. And then hangs up and then picks up the phone and calls the police.
Yeah.
It's like, that is your threshold for calling the police. Is someone being like, can you please give a message to someone?
Yeah.
And she's like, this is harassment. Yeah. I need to call someone about this.
He said he'll be here in 20 minutes.
Yeah. So they arrest him again.
If he's going to take that long to get to the hospital, how did he beat the cops there?
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing in the movie makes sense time-wise. So the cops take him back, and then of course,
thunderstorm.
Yeah, of course there's a thunderstorm, and of course it causes a town-wide blackout.
Yeah.
So total blackout in the town. All the emergency lights and shit come on, and
except for seemingly at the hospital.
Yeah,
hospitals are supposed to have
plunged into darkness.
They're supposed to have like backup generators.
Yeah, and in this one,
patients are on life support.
Well, we clearly saw that there's only two patients there. It's this little kid and any old random person.
Yeah.
It really does seem like he's the only one there, though. There's nobody else in the room. You know what I mean? There's like 7 different beds in the room he's in.
Yeah.
They're never filled.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
there's not even like, it looks like someone could have been sleeping there.
Yeah. And there's like 1 doctor and the 3 nurses.
No, I think there's 2 doctors, 2 nurses.
Yeah, because the 1 doctor just leaves.
Yeah.
The other guy waltzes up and he's just like, yeah, the other guy's not going to be here. I'm taking over. It's like, Why? Did the actor quit? He was just like, you know what? This movie's ridiculous. I'm out. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. New doctor. Different doctor. But yeah, so she attacks the police station. And the two things, well, actually, there's three things. So for one, PG-13 deaths are crazy lame. Super lame in that fucking cop station. She'd just like pick someone up and then the camera would kind of not even look at it. And they'd be like, oh, and then they'd fall on the ground and there'd be blood on them and they're dead. Yeah. Super fucking lame. Two, these cops are dumb. They are. Super dumb. The fact that they fall for her little gambit of shooting out the lights. Continuously. Yeah, even after he's like, she's making you shoot out the lights. And they're like, shoot at the lights. They just keep shooting. Yeah. And it's like, can the bullets even hurt her? That was my third point. Can the bullets even fucking hurt her? I know one of them breaks her mask. Yeah. But it's like, did that do anything other than expose a little bit of skin? Yeah, it's like, what does that fucking matter? Who cares? Yeah. It's not going to kill her. She's still going to murder you. Right. So what's the point of shooting at her anyway? Another thing that the rules of the movie, it's just like, no clue. Does she have a physical body? Because that was another thing. She can appear anywhere, like inside an MRI machine, but yet she still has to chase people. Yeah. None of it makes sense. So Kyle escapes the police station. Doesn't he the one cop lives. Yeah. The like deputy whatever. Yeah, it was like the sheriff's son. Yeah. Who seemed to be like the same age group as Kyle. I think it was implied he was a classmate of theirs. Yeah. And so like Kyle gets him to believe what's going on. Well, I mean, once the whole station is murdered. Yeah. And everybody sees her. Yeah. So they escape in a police vehicle. He gets a ride to the hospital. Here's the weird thing, though, because the cop doesn't go with him to the hospital. Right. Cop goes to get gas for the lighthouse. Oh, they have a plan. Oh, that's right. They have a plan. He's going to go get the kid and Caitlin, and then the whatever. Okay. And then there's the like escaping the hospital sequence, which is another thing I was like, please, I hope this holds up because I remember it being cool. Oh my God, does it not? Holy crap. That moment, like when there's that hallway and there's basically just that sliver of light down the hallway where it's like, if you pin yourself up to the wall and you shimmy down the wall, you'll be in the light and she can't get you. Yeah. But that's the only spot that you're safe. For one, the fact that they never had her come down and like get face to face with anybody. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm right fucking here and I could totally get you if I wanted, but I can't reach into that light. Yeah. You know, it's like, that would have been fucking spooky. But instead, she's just nowhere on screen. And then that one nurse, like everyone is doing the like clear and obvious thing, like get up against the wall and start shimmying down in the light. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so Kyle goes first and then Michael goes. And then they send a nurse and she just, instead of getting up against the wall, she just kind of like waltzes towards it and like goes through the shadow and everyone's like, wait, no. And she gets like smacked in the head. She doesn't get taken or killed. No. The Tooth Fairy just like tore her ACL or something. I don't know what she did to her, but she just like drops to the floor like, oh God. Yeah. It's like, okay, for one, what the hell was that? Yeah. She wasn't in the darkness enough to get murdered, but she could like punch her in the kidney. Nurse, because I feel like one of the nurses hadn't seen it yet. And she was just following along with the other people that were like freaking out and leaving. I thought they all saw her on top of that elevator. Oh, maybe. That's right. Because it's like stuck between floors so they can see in the elevator, but also I was writing a note about why is the elevator fucking working when the power's out? Yeah. Like how? How? I mean, there's that emergency power that apparently doesn't work for the lights because there's just those like... That only had a few more minutes. Yeah. And then the whole hospital goes dark. What the hell? It'd have been a blackout for like an hour at that point. Yeah. And the lights were already dying out. Like, what kind of shithole hospital is this? Seriously. My God. They do that whole sequence with the staircase too, where it's like there's light at the base of the staircase and there's light at the top of the staircase, but you have to jump through the darkness to get there. Yeah. And Kyle and the two nurses jump, and it takes one of the nurses. Yeah. Instead of Kyle. Like, why do you care about this nurse? No, the first jump was because it's a nurse and a doctor that make it to the staircase. I don't remember. Yeah, whatever it is, he jumps with two other people. And he mentions ahead of time that he's like, if there's multiple targets, then it's better. But it doesn't seem like anybody really registers what that means. Yeah. Where it's like, he means one of you is going to die. Yeah. But they're all just like, yeah, whatever.
It might not be me.
Yeah, it just seems crazy that they jump on board so quick. That they're just like, okay, yeah, whatever. 1 out of 3 ain't bad. I mean, or 2 out of 3 ain't bad, or whatever.
To be fair, what other options do they have?
True, but they were really cool with it.
Yeah.
They were just like, yeah, let's do it. Let's jump. And then they're down in the doorway, like near the vestibule of like the hospital itself, and she's right on top of them now, and she's gonna get them.
Yeah.
And then Deputy Ben crashes the car through the front with like the headlights that then like spook her off, and scare and burn her and whatever. I wrote down immediately, how many buildings did Deputy Ben crash into before he found the right one? He just busts in that door. And it's like...
Unless it's like the main entrance.
It didn't look like it.
I mean...
But it's...
Given the state of the rest of the hospital, I wouldn't be surprised if that is what the main entrance looked like.
Yeah, that's possible. But I just imagine that he crashed into a bunch of other doors before he found the right one. And so then they drive off in the cop car.
They're driving to the lighthouse.
Yeah, and they're like, we're safe in the car. And then she busts in and steals the doctor.
That was one of my notes, was that he specifically says, like, why don't we just keep driving? We're safe in the car. And immediately she busts in the window and grabs him.
Like she heard it.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, you think so? And she just busts up all the windows. And then they turn on some lanterns, I think, and then they're able to make it there.
There was the kerosene lanterns in the back.
And she busts. She takes him, but doesn't take anybody else, even though, like, you'd think, like, take the driver.
Yeah.
Just snatch him out of the driver's seat. The car crashes. You get them all. But instead, she takes the worthless doctor, who probably wouldn't have been any help anyway.
Yeah.
She's really just culling the herd to make it easier for them to survive. Where it's like, if we don't have to wait for this dumb fuck, we might get out of here.
Yeah.
And they get to the lighthouse, and then when they're up in the top of it, and she shows up, and you kind of like see her in the lightning flashes outside. For one, that just made me think, like, that doesn't hurt her.
Yeah.
You think she'd be in extreme agony every time lightning flashed.
Yeah.
But nothing happens. And then she just decides to bust out all the glass. And I just wrote down, she fucking hates windows.
She really does.
Because she takes out all the windows in the cop car. She takes out all the windows on the fucking lighthouse, which makes me wonder, like, how that isn't her, like, entrance to everyone's house when she takes the fucking teeth. She's like, take the tooth. Bleh,
bust
bail.
Out a different window.
Yeah, bust out the second window. Like, fuck. Man, she sucks. So they finally, there's, a incredibly tensionless suspense scene of like, oh no, the gas isn't working.
Yeah.
And they have to go down and fix the line. And then the cop gets taken by the tooth fairy while he's leaning over with the lantern, and he's too far out of the light, and she can snatch him up. So it takes him, and now it's just the girl, Kyle, and the kid. And they get the lighthouse going. It seemingly destroys her.
Yeah.
Like, she gets stuck in the light, and she just like, and like disintegrates and poofs off into dust.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool, she's dead. Until she's not.
Yeah.
And she just comes back and grabs him. And they knock the mask off, and she's all gross underneath.
Yeah.
Which I guess that's supposed to be what it is. Like, she was wearing the mask, so the light didn't totally kill her. Like, but it looked like it killed her when she disappeared into dust.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like she ran away. She died. She just died.
Fooled you.
Yeah, gotcha. And so the light apparently can't fully kill her. But when he lights his own sleeve on fire and flaming punches her in the face, that kills her.
Yeah.
Finally. Which,
like fire punch.
I mean, which is pretty cool as it stands. But at this point in the movie, it's just like, I just don't care anymore.
Yep.
And then the next scene happened. It's essentially like they punch her. It kills her. It like fades to black. And then the very next scene is like a kid's bedroom. And you don't get a close enough look. But I thought it was supposed to be like Michael. And it's not.
No.
It's just some random kid.
Yeah.
For one, it's some random like 10-year-old kid who has a Static X poster in the background. I noticed the Static X poster.
I didn't catch that.
And I was just like, really? This kid listened to Static X? I don't think so. It blew my mind. I had to write down. I was like, no closure on Kyle, Kat, and Michael at all.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's like, she's dead. Like, cool. So what's Michael doing? Or, Michael's
Yeah.
okay now. And what's Kyle doing? And do they get together? And any of that? And it's like, who cares?
It just shows them like huddled together in the lighthouse. So many questions left unanswered.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess the movie understands at that point that it's like, yeah, I bet nobody cares.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're right. We don't. It honestly really did bum me out a little bit at how bad it was and how just nothing held up at all. Nothing
really
was scary. None of the like performances were really all that good. The monster isn't scary. I couldn't believe it was over when it ended. I was just like, it like the fact that we watched like the first like 1.5 quarters of the Monday Night Football game and then watched this movie. And then when it was over, I turned the game back on.
Yeah.
And there was like almost the whole fourth quarter left.
Yeah.
Like this, like, oh my God, that took no time at all.
Yeah.
This was barely a movie. This was like an episode of a Netflix show.
Yeah.
In length.
I was glad it was over though. Like, all right, there's no more of this nonsense going on.
Yeah, by the end of it, I was really just laughing at it, and it's I didn't go into it necessarily looking to like ridicule it. I wasn't like coming into it like, oh man, we're gonna tear this movie to pieces. It was really just like,
I don't remember.
Yeah, I didn't remember it, and I wanted to see if there was anything in it that seemed maybe ahead of its time or something like that, where it's like, oh, I've seen stuff like that in movies since then that I didn't even remember. And it was like, no, every movie that's come out since then has looked at that movie and been like, never do what they did.
Yeah.
All the stuff they did is wrong and bad.
Whatever
Don't ever
they did, do the opposite.
Pretty much. And I mean, that's rules to live by.
Yeah.
Whatever Darkness Falls did, don't do that.
Yep.
And you'll probably have a pretty good horror movie on your hands.
Yep.
So hopefully next time we'll talk about a movie that is better. And, I'm not even 100% sure in terms of plans of future shows for October, but I just know that we want to do horror movie stuff all October. So hopefully we'll have something fun next time and maybe talk a little positive things about a movie that's good and have some notes that isn't literally just like, why is everyone fucking dumb?
Yeah. Why?
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 Why? That's Popcorn for Dinner, everybody. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kelly.
See ya.